It's insane to think that living on the moon or even Mars is a real possibility in our lifetime, and the fact that scientists are getting closer and closer to figuring out how to do it is mind-boggling. Up till now, the major setback taunting people from setting up colonies in space was the issue of breathing indefinitely in an environment devoid of oxygen. But it seems as though a new study has solved a major problem with living on the moon and Mars. Here's all you need to know about it. First things first, let's talk about the avenue of possibilities that this particular study opens up concerning living on a whole other planet. If proven correct, the contents of the study could lead to humankind establishing bases on other planets and guaranteeing their supply of oxygen by using new techniques discovered here on Earth. The idea of a city on the moon is perhaps the dream we as a species strive towards. In 2018, billionaire Jeff Bezos said that he planned to work with NASA and the European State Agency to build a permanent settlement on the moon. NASA itself plans to build infrastructure on the moon, with a planned Artemis base camp that would act as support for any future crewed missions. The plan right now is to send humans to the moon by 2024, then send more crew to the moon once a year. The base camp in question would support long-term missions and act as housing for 4 astronauts as a month-long stay. When it comes to SpaceX, Elon Musk has in the past expressed interest in using its currently underdeveloped Starship rocket to build a settlement on the moon. He said that we should have a base on the moon, as in a permanently occupied human base on the moon, and then send people to Mars. Next, the discovery itself. But what could it be? The secret to creating oxygen in space? Well, the word creating is a little misleading here, since the most simple explanation of the process goes as follows. Apparently earlier in February, in the scientific journal Nature, researchers revealed that the water electrolysis process, which uses electricity to split the water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen, does work at lower gravity levels. This is groundbreaking news, as the research revealed that oxygen produced through electrolysis is only reduced about 11% under moon-like gravity conditions. The team of researchers, led by Mark Symes at the University of Glasgow in the UK, conducted water electrolysis experiments within the 0.01 G and 1 G gravity range for the first time. A centrifuge was used on board freefall flights with the help of the European Space Agency's Fly Your Thesis program. Symes claimed that no one had previously looked at the effects of lunar gravity on the water electrolysis process. Now, more details on the research. To start off, Mark Symes, a researcher on the project and a senior lecturer in chemistry at the University of Glasgow, told Inverse that if there was water ice on Mars, then it could also be electrolyzed to make oxygen and hydrogen. He said that this could then be used to propel rockets from Mars back to Earth. Symes explained that the extent of this reduced efficiency at lunar gravity is comparably mild, which would make electrolysis of water a viable route to providing oxygen on the moon, at least in terms of efficiency. The centrifuge system that the team of researchers used could be spun to simulate the gravitational forces anywhere from 1 G to 8 G. The results revealed that mitigating the 11% drop in the efficiency of oxygen production under lunar gravity would require around 1% more power to match production on Earth. To that, Symes said that it was important to know what sort of performance and efficiency could be expected. This is because every watt of power needs to be budgeted for on space missions. Katharina Brinkert elaborated that this demonstrates once more that electrolytic oxygen production on the moon and Mars is feasible, but also talked about a challenge regarding the required additional energy input due to the hindered gas bubble desorption. Symes did say that their cell is by no means optimized yet, so more realistic cells definitely need to be built and tested. Next, what does it mean? In scientific terms, it means that testing and optimizing electrolysis systems could now be much quicker and easier due to the results that the research team obtained. But on a more simple and long-term note, the findings of the research could help enable some of the most ambitious plans in spaceflight. So, for example, in 2017, SpaceX CEO Elon Musk outlined his plan to send human beings to space this very decade, in the 2020s. He believed that he could send humans to Mars in the 2020s, have them establish a base, and then ultimately establish a whole city by 2050. Musk planned to send the Starship, an underdeveloped reusable rocket that uses liquid oxygen and methane as its fuel. At the very same time, Musk went on to explain how astronauts could collect water and carbon dioxide to make fuel of their own. The SpaceX explanation infographic for how it will make more fuel claims that the first ship will have a small propellant plant, one that would expand over time. The infographic also shows how important and vital electrolysis is for making the liquid oxygen that ships could then use to return. Now, what this means for humankind. Okay, so now that we have all this information about how to create oxygen and hypothetical plans for long-term residence in space, what does it mean for humans on the moon and Mars? In April of 2021, NASA's Mars Oxygen In Situ Resource Utilization Experiment, more famously known as MOXIE, managed to extract its first oxygen from the air. This was done by collecting carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and using a different electrolysis process. MOXIE may have been a success, but a future scale of the experiment would need to be much bigger. For context, the current version, which is approximately the size of a toaster, manages to produce about 10 grams of oxygen per hour. And for comparison's sake, a team of 4 astronauts on a mission would require about 55,000 pounds of oxygen solely to leave Mars. If we look at the math, this entire expedition would require MOXIE to be, give or take, 100 times larger. With these new findings, though, astronauts may have a different source of oxygen, and exploring astronauts can even seek out water ice, which they could then use to harvest more oxygen for their mission. In the future, Musk plans to build large cities and even terraform the planet to make it more livable for humans. But what does that mean in terms of the latest findings, according to Symes? Symes claimed that the question itself was a bit beyond his expertise, but in general, he would say that anything that allows or facilitates humans spending time on these other planets without constant resupply from Earth is a step towards a self-sufficient infrastructure. Now, in other SpaceX news, Elon Musk wants to terraform Mars. What does that mean? Elon Musk hinted at his long-term goal to terraform the plane back in 2021 on Twitter. Musk stated that he's still got his sights on the long-term goal of making Mars a world that is more like Earth. In response to a post that talked about Earth and Mars's temperature differences, which claimed that the average surface temperature of Mars is around minus 63 degrees Celsius, Musk simply responded in saying that it needs a little warming up. Musk's overall goal with his organization SpaceX is apparently to reduce spaceflight costs, use it to establish permanent human presences elsewhere in space, and transform humanity into a multi-planetary species. SpaceX lobby even showcases images of Mars before and after this apparent terraforming. Elon Musk taunted Russia? Yes, you heard that right. Elon Musk has decided to mock Russia because the country claimed that it would stop providing rocket engines to the United States in retaliation to sanctions placed on it for invading Ukraine. The boss of the main state agency in Russia, Dmitry Rogozin, recently suggested that the US would have to go into orbit on their broomsticks, and apparently Elon Musk did not like that. On Twitter, the SpaceX CEO posted a video of SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket launching another 47 Starlink satellites into orbit with a simple caption, "American broomsticks." Next, the issue goes deeper. Musk seems to have recently riled up the Russian government online for a much more optical reason as well. He activated the SpaceX satellite internet system over Ukraine in response to a request from the embattled country's leadership. Musk has also publicly offered Ukraine advice on how to most effectively stay connected to the internet during the Russian invasion. To the state television, Rogozin said that in a situation like this one, they could not possibly supply the United States with their world's best rocket engines. Let them fly on something else, their broomsticks. I don't know what, he said. He also claimed that Russia had delivered 122 RD-180 engines to the US since the 1990s, of which 98 were used to power Atlas launch vehicles. In response, Musk announced that SpaceX had updated its Starlink software to reduce peak power consumption so Starlink can be powered from a car cigarette lighter on Thursday. And that's all for this video. What do you think about this new information regarding living on the moon and Mars? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this.